It's been 22 years since Shamrock Rovers lost their home. The club spent 61 years in Milltown, achieving unrivalled success, 12 league titles and 23 FAI Cup victories. In 1987, the grass was allowed grow and the gates were closed forever.
This monument pays homage to Shamrock Rovers' former home at Milltown in the Irish capital, Dublin. The record 15 times champions played there for 65 years until it was sold by then owners the Kilcoyne family to property developers in 1987. Since then, they've never had their own ground. Rovers fans are hoping the Tala Community Stadium will finally end their ground-sharing nomadic existence. Work began on it back in 2000, but ceased the following year as the club ran out of funds. To rub salt into the wound, last season the Hoops were relegated to the second tier of domestic football for the first time. Since leaving Milltown, they've only won the championship once, in 1994.
That was the death knell of Shamrock Rovers as we know it.
Only one player remains from the squad that was relegated last season, goalkeeper Barry Murphy. The Hoops are reliant on youth. Murphy and midfielder Jamie Duffy are prime examples. Rovers suffered an 8-point deduction for financial irregularities during the season and were relegated last November.
It's the most hurtful thing I've ever been through in my life, to see thousands of fans standing around practically crying at the end. It was the end of an era for Rovers. It had been coming, to be honest. Like, things weren't being done right at the club, and subsequently it happened the day we got relegated. But there's a new horizon now with Shamrock Rovers. Things are going in the right way.
There's no doubt about that. They were top of the Aircom First Division after 17 matches and had games in hand on their closest rivals. Former Rovers centre-back Pat Scully is the man charged with taking the fallen Giants back into the big time. He's not got cash to splash, but he refuses to use that as an excuse and is confident he can fulfil the remit his employers have given him.
I try and set really high standards for everything, in everything we do, and the board had that ambition as well. And we want, as I said, we want to get Shamrock Rovers back where it belongs on the football field, but also importantly is that we get the name of Shamrock Rovers back to what it should be.
After seeing the club come so close to folding last year, the fans are just delighted to have a team to support. They're now owned by a fan consortium of Rovers devotees, the 400 Club. John Byrne, Rovers Director of Communications, is one of those. He's also a club director.
As the 400 Club developed, it was taken over by its members, i.e. the supporters. And as the club sort of lurched from one financial crisis to another, we became aware that, you know, things needed to change. And when the examinership came up, we supported it financially. We helped to keep the club going from day to day throughout the examinership, which lasted from March until the end of July. And during that time, we figured probably the best way to help the club out of the situation was if the fans acquired the club.
Rovers currently play their home games at Tolka Park, which belongs to 12-time champions Shelbourne, in front of crowds of less than 1,000. A far cry from the 56,000 plus who turned up for a European Cup preliminary at home to England's Manchester United back in 1957. They'd lost just twice in their first 17 league games this season, conceding a miserly 5 goals. If they score first, count on them to win. As recently as 2003, the team reached the second round of the Intertoto Cup. Nowadays, European competition is just a pipe dream. But if their ambitious young coach has his wish, it won't stay that way for too long.
When you take over the job of Shamrock Rovers, you can easily walk in and make excuses and say, look, the club's been relegated, we're doing it this, we're doing it that, we've got young players, it's a 3- and 4-year plan, which to me is rubbish, like, and I'll never go down that road. I expect us to win the league this year, and I expect that from myself, and I expect that from everybody at the club. And if we don't do it, then I will have failed, and I'd have no problem holding my hand up.
Football produces its fair share of fairy tales. The sad decline of Shamrock Rovers is certainly not one of them. But the move to their new stadium is still on the cards. Hopefully, it won't be too long before the Hoops are back where they belong.
Come on, Rovers!
Imagine what it must feel like to be away for 22 years. That's the length of time Shamrock Rovers have had to endure on the road since the loss of the fans' beloved Glenmalure Park in Milltown. Well, that 22 years came to an end on Friday, and what proved to be a hugely emotional night for everybody associated with the club.
But finally, hope has returned to the hoops. The Rovers are back and on their way to a new home in Tallaght.
Well, basically we're the Shamrock Rovers Supporters Club, pride of Ringsend, and obviously this is one of the most important days in Shamrock Rovers history. We've been waiting for this day for a very long time. We're going to start the journey from Ringsend, the birthplace of Shamrock Rovers, in 1901. We're just founded around the corner there, not so far from here. It's just an amazing day. It's a fabulous day. This is for the fans, and everyone deserves it. You know, it's a fantastic day, and roll on Tallaght.
Before the pride of Ringsend hit the N81, they made a poignant stop at their old home.
You know, all the new kids have got to get into Tallaght now and see what Rovers is all about. They'll have a great time.
As the Tallaght Stadium came into view, excitement grew.
We're not homeless, we're not homeless, we're not homeless anymore.
From early in the day, fans old and young had gathered in the nearby hotel to let Dublin know that Tallaght on this day was green and white. And if you didn't have any green or white, well, you could always purchase some in the very snazzy club shop. Now there's posh. It was definitely a day for the fans who were much appreciated by former players, fans who supported the club when they were most needed.
It's very hard to describe the emotion of the people who kept the club alive, because whilst there are tens of thousands of people who have a great affiliation to Shamrock Rovers, it's a small number who put the money, and some put the homes, and some more than the hope on the line for this football club. Some of them have passed on, they're not here, which brings a poignancy to the situation as well. But overall, I think you've only got to sense and feel the atmosphere to understand exactly what it's about.
Fans of the pulse of Rovers, and the McGlones have been supporting the hoops for 3 generations.
My dad has been going into Rovers since, I think, as he was saying, 1956, you know, the cup final where we 2-0 down against Cork, we came back to win 3-2. I came along in 1969, and my first match that I can remember was in mid-70s, 74, 75, you know, I don't remember it too clearly, but I've been going ever since, you know, and it's just a family thing. In 1990, my son came along, Lee. He came along, he was born on the 12th of August 1990, and then 5 weeks later we played Pats in our first game in the RDS with 27,000 there, and he was 5 weeks old there, dressed in his green and white hat, green and white shorts, boots and everything like that, and he's been going ever since. And then we have Callan there, my other son there, he's going in since a couple of years old now, and it's just what we do, you know what I mean? It just, you couldn't do anything else, you know.
We've all got green and white hoops blood, you know, and this red blood thing is
With it being the historic first game, the cameras were in town as kick-off fast approached. The wind and rain tried to spoil the occasion, but Rovers, Shamrock and Sligo created a terrific atmosphere as both teams emerged.
It is Shamrock Rovers who will begin life in Tallaght, playing from right to left.
Shamrock Rovers hit the ground running as new signing Shane Robinson showed great pace and not a little skill to slip the ball to Twig, who put it away. Offside though. It was a full-blooded encounter, with Paul Cook Sligo hoping to spoil the party. But it was the home side who struck first. Bradley's free kick flicked on by Robinson and Rice, Gary Twig producing a sublime finish.
Oh, and there's the goal. His first goal for the club, and the first goal in Tallaght, scored by Gary Twig.
Rovers should have doubled their lead. Fullback Madden crossed, but Twig failed to convert. O'Neill disappointed. Sligo only started to play towards the end of the half. This interchange saw Rafael Cratero's shot deflected over. Hoops thought they'd doubled their lead, but this effort was ruled out for a Desi Baker push at the back post. half-time, the fans happy, and Rovers legends Mick and Pat Byrne receiving a standing ovation from the crowd. Rovers straight at it again. Man of the match Robinson produced a fine save from Richard Brush. But Rovers got that crucial second goal just a few minutes later.
Cahill beats Noctor, and another man too. Brilliant from Ollie Cahill. They're queuing up, waiting for the cross. Baker took a deflection on the way through, maybe off Holmes, but Desi Baker at last doubles the advantage for Shamrock Rovers.
Paul Cook responded with a double substitution. The change in personnel galvanised Sligo, and Kratara could have done better at the back post. Sligo then grabbed a foothold in the match, giving the home side a nervy last 8 minutes.
Morrison promising this for Sligo on the back stick, and they've a goal back.
The home crowd screaming for the final whistle as Sligo created one final chance.
The whistle in the referee's mouth and it's over, and Shamrock Rovers begin life in Tala with a victory.
It was a historic moment for the Shamrock Rovers Football Club and all the fans, and you've delivered them the right result at the end.
Yeah, I thought we played excellent, particularly in the first half. Started the second half as well. You know, we started the game great, got the second goal, looked as if we were going to add to that. But then, you know, I think a little bit of nervousness crept into our game, probably crept into the crowd as well. It meant so much to go and win the game, and we ended up sort of maybe just defending a wee bit more than we would have liked for the last 5 or 10 minutes, but we're delighted with the performance overall.
It's been fantastic, you know, the whole week has been so exciting, you know, for players and for fans, and it was great to get a goal out there tonight as well. It made it extra special for me, myself, and it was great for the lads to get the 3 points, you know.
At the finish there was hardly a dry eye in the house, and the party was just beginning. But you know, you wouldn't begrudge them their moment. The Hoops finally found a home after 22 years on the road.